A big welcome to you, my dear Capricorn. The sun in Taurus giving the light to the moon, which is in your sign. And these are two earth signs that are coming together, and you're getting the Hanged Man. And that's Neptune. Neptune has moved into Aries. And what's really interesting here is that Neptune is connected with the illusions, and there are 7 of them, and I have written them down. And there are death, time, separation, control, scarcity, unworthy, to be unworthy, and fear. And so now that Neptune is in Aries, we are going to see that we are recognizing in this card that he is here because he wants to be here. He wasn't put here, or she wasn't put here because someone said, well, here, you're going to hang upside down this tree, right? And at the same time, you have here a moment of reflection, a moment of maybe even a rebirth, right? That's what's happening when we do inversions, and hanging upside down brings a moment of clarity of, are you the victim or what's going on here? And through that, there is a waiting time to the enlightenment, to getting to the roots, which is what Taurus brings you down into the roots. And so we're going to look at Neptune. We're going to see what archetype Neptune is bringing, because here I have Caroline, Miss archetypes, and I love it because they have also 2 meanings, and they're not connected to the tarot, right? And what's important here is that we see the archetype that we are now working on reaching to you as the hedonist. Wow. And this is very interesting because Neptune is in Aries, and Aries is the one zodiac sign that's most likely to become a hedonist. And so as you can see, right, we have here the light attributes and here the dark side of the hedonist. And she, of course, because she's hanging here, she's looking first at the dark side of the hedonist. And so I'm going to read you the dark side. Pursues pleasures to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. And so, as you can see, the 12, right? We have the 1 and the 2 in the 12, and that's the Magician and the High Priestess. When you unite them, then the Empress appears, and the Empress is Venus. And Venus right now is in Gemini, and so you are going to get the information through Gemini, because Gemini right now also has Uranus in it, and there's going to be a big revolution. Now, the light side of the hedonist is inspires creative energy to embrace the good things in life, celebrates the beauty in yourself. So transforming this into this, right, is what the 1 and the 2 does. The 1 is the male and the 2 is the female. And so here we recognize, of course, in the dark side the female, and in the light side the male. But also, of course, a male can also go down into this hedonistic type of lifestyle. And it's up to us humans, right, to recognize that there are always 2 sides to a style, to a card. There's an up, there's a down, there's a right, there's a left, and there's the center. So since Neptune is in Aries, we're gonna look at the deck of Aries and see now what Neptune in Aries is wanting you to do about here the shadow side of the hedonist, right? Are we pursuing pleasures to the detriment of health? Are we indulging at the expense of others, right? That's a big question that you need to ask yourself. And the Four of Pentacles is coming, and that's you, the Sun in Capricorn. When you're born under that, it's like you have a riches and at the same time a stinginess. And it's again the duality, right? You're standing on these two coins. You are literally standing on two coins. You are holding one in front of your heart, and then you have one above your head. And so the stability in it creates sometimes the stinginess, right? It's like people who really don't have much, they are sometimes much more generous than people actually who have a lot. And there's a reason why they got where they got, unless you're born, of course, rich, right? Then it's kind of like, okay, then that's where the soul said, well, I want to be born into a rich family and see how that affects me so I can learn. But the 4 and the 3 is the 7, that's the crown chakra. That's where you understand that hanging upside down and putting the crown into the earth is what creates right now a very important message for you through Taurus, which is coming to you. And so that you can see there are two sides to a coin always. And here you're holding the coin with the pentagram inside, right? And the pentagram is important to understand. And the 5 is the 5 fingers, but also the 5 limbs that are coming out of the center of our body, the head, the 2 arms, and the 2 legs. And so that's that human aspect here. And the 7, though, says, well, this is where your intellect is. This is where you're learning. This is where you're understanding how to now not get into this dark side of the hedonist, that you are creating for people a place where they can celebrate the beauty, right, to be around you, and that you are inspire the creative energy to do good things and not to hoard and not to sting and not to hold. Is that you are giving what you have always, right? Because we cannot hold on to it. And it's really clear that this is now showing up everywhere. We could see it. So Neptune was in Pisces for 14 years. We created a dream world, and now the reality hits, right? Now people are like, do we need this? Do we need this extravaganza, what's happening out there? And so the 7 is like, become clear in how you work with this information right now, this month, right? And how you can create a positive outcome out of the hedonist, out of being hanging upside down, and out of having here the sun in Capricorn, having the holding on to the materials, almost like, no, I'm not going to give the grass to the cows, right? And that's where you have to understand that there is plenty, there is always plenty, and we don't need to hold on. And that scarcity comes from your childhood, right? It's been implanted in your childhood, because through the 7 illusions we have no scarcity, right? That's an illusion, like death and like time and separation and control and not being worthy and to be afraid. And I think that's what you're doing here through Neptune, that is in Aries, that is saying, well, have a deeper look at where you come from. Wow. I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we get the sun in Gemini. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.